computer difficulty here. I hope it doesn't glitch out on me again. But tried to start a stream, and for some reason it disconnected me, and I'm starting again. So if you're new here, please like, share, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. Don't forget to get notifications of live streams. You have to hit that little bell thingy on YouTube. Of course, all my links and such are in the description below. And this is episode 2. I've the weekly show. I am going to document my writing life, and hopefully along the way we inspire and build up each other. And yes, that's pretty much the point, isn't it? I mean, writing is about inspiration and inspiring others. I mean, you have a story to tell. Everybody has a story to tell. Some are big, some are small, some are many, some are few. There's no rhyme, rhythm, or reason. I'm not saying everybody's going to be a failure or everybody's going to be a success. I mean, it's a matter of taste, and tastes vary. And what used to be popular isn't popular anymore. And hopefully all of us can learn a thing or two from each other. And I pretty much interviewed a number of authors already, and I hope to interview more on. And I had some interesting discussions, and did an interview today. It's pretty good, actually. Pretty happy with how it turned out. So hopefully, after this, you'll go. If you haven't seen my interview with Doc Corina and his book Rapier, check out my interview on YouTube and Facebook. Don't know how long it'll last on Twitch, but yeah, you can watch me live on Twitch. This week, of course, there's a special on Smashwords, ebook a week, ebook week, and it'll be 50% off starting tomorrow for a week on all my books, ebook only on Smashwords, and only on Smashwords. But if you want the print edition, you've got Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And, of course, my books are on multiple platforms digitally. Because, let's face it, though a lot of people are on Amazon, there are lots more who aren't. Just right now, it's still the biggest platform, and still, but there are many people who don't want Barnes and even Barnes and Noble. So hopefully, well, I don't like. A lot of people have also said it too. They a little bit unhappy with Amazon, and just unfortunately, there's no real organization out there for us to take up our grievances and even look into things for us and sort things out. Although, the writing associations there are out there, but they take time and money, and there isn't enough of us with both. It's not just having one, it's having both, time and the money, and getting people together to get to these organizations and get people to get up Jeff Bezos's snooty little supervillain nose and sort out what's what with the goings on over at Amazon. But ultimately, at the end of the day, they are a business, and they'll just stand on their high horse and say, well, if you don't like it, go somewhere else. And Unfortunately, that's not the customer's attitude now, is it? But yes, unfortunately, no. Ultimately, I don't think you can fix Amazon. I ultimately don't think government or government agencies are going to fix them either, or government regulation may not be the answer. It may be just competition, and hopefully the customer, unfortunately, the customer is particular on their taste and they like Amazon. And I thought, well, if there's only a software developer who could develop a better book app, but there are better book apps, just doesn't seem to be the will of the people. But of course, during my journey, I started in 2016. One of the things with writing is always the villain. I don't always like having to read the villain's perspective. Sometimes I like the villain to be a surprise and their actions and motives to be a surprise. Sometimes the less is more with a villain, I think. Not knowing, trying to go through your day, not knowing who's out there plotting against you. Suspense, drama, intrigue. I know everybody these days, they always try to copy success, but nobody's known for their glorious read. Unfortunately, that's actually, I was going to say, nobody was. But some people might say nobody is known for their glorious retelling of other people's tales. Unfortunately, that's not true. Shakespeare is one of the most famous. Another one that comes to mind is J.K. Rowling, though she would curb stomp you if you actually leveled any truths against her. But there are 13 cases that, despite the outcomes that say otherwise, of course, winning a case doesn't mean much these days. But the court of popular opinion is, you're right. But there are truths, and there are payouts to suggest that what she did was true. And of course, I'm not going to repeat what you can look for yourself on the J.K. Rowling controversies. There are many rumors, but they disappear faster than accusations against Google for wrongdoing. In fact, probably faster. Remember, Google do no evil. Yeah, why they in Cyberdyne? Boston Dynamics. Sorry, but yes, military robots and secrets, and the secrets around to Google. Yeah, just like the secrets around Amazon. They make for good stories, though. Sometimes these rumors. But practically, if you want to build a villain, that's one thing I think of, and perhaps put more effort into it, I guess. Rumors, innuendo, slights, all those little things that can pop up through the story to actually build a villain. Unlike, let's say, Harry Potter, where it's always in your face, I guess. And I never got the popularity of stupidity, but that's my opinion. And if you don't think it's stupidity, that's your opinion. But I guess if you're in your 30s and you still want stories written as if you're 11, here's a crayon coloring book for you. That's my opinion. I honestly think some people attack one of the reasons I got a bad review is because I did say a particular book was written for people who like coloring in with crayons. Nothing wrong with that. Plenty of artists who use crayons. I guess I should have picked something more indicative of 11-year-olds. But then again, people who play with Play-Doh can also be equally talented. But motives. Motives are something we all got to put a little bit more effort into, I think. Start with means, motive, opportunity. Those are the three key factors to any crime. Do they have the means to carry out the crime? What is the motive for carrying out the crime? And then methods. They have to have the ability. They have to have the motivation. And there has to be, particularly, say, a supervillain, a history, a pattern. You don't, although this one theoretical villain I am working on could be more of an anti-hero. Actually, or even a hero, or somebody with a hero complex, or haven't quite decided. It can work as a hero. Can work much better as a villain, however. But do you want an ongoing villain? Does ongoing villains really work these days? But then again, I think to myself, I gotta write the story as it fits my world, my way. Because if I try to write for a particular audience, what do? We try to analyze the audience, the only way we can really find out who our audience is for some, it's easy. They write a mystery, they put it out there, big block letters, and hope that their mystery stands out from somebody else's mystery. And because let's face it, mysteries, murder mysteries, and romance novels are the big thing. But there's just so many. But those are the most selling. In some genres, like horror, fantasy, science fiction, science fantasy. Well, science fantasy is dominated by Star Wars. But so is science fiction. But of course, there's the drama, superhero genre dominated by Marvel, DC Comics. But again, this is how a free market works. As you know, Marvel and DC can no longer gatekeep each other, let alone gatekeep the independents. So there's good and bad to Amazon. I mean, can a villain be an anti-hero, or just done the right thing for selfish reasons? Although there's that villainous air, isn't it? There's the stink. But anyway, it's you always ponder when you're writing. Oh, well, I always ponder when I'm writing. How will the audience react? And so I do try to keep in mind the experiences I have with the few interactions I have with my audience, and hopefully understand what people like and dislike, and but ultimately I hope to impart to people that at least try to read a book a week, expand your mind. The more you use your mind and imagination, the less grip, especially if you read a variety of material, the less grip philosophies, political parties, etc., have on you. And I think one of the greatest sins we have committed is to let others do our thinking. Use other people's ideas as a moral compass, not as a set of laws to confine you. And hopefully along the way, I improve my writing. I'm always looking to improve. How to convey emotion, that's one of the areas I probably need improvement in. How people feel, how they're, how various things make people feel. The inner dialogue, the motives, convey emotion, and hopefully one of the ways I learn more is, of course, to read more. I think it's not, call it research. Some people have actually pointed this out to me in reactions to the various memes. I publish Wednesday my time. I usually publish on Facebook a meme. Sometimes I pick a funny one. Sometimes I pick a bit of writing advice. Sometimes just try to always keep it about writing, though. Sometimes with the writing prompts, although I haven't done a writing prompt in a long time, I don't think. Actually, I don't know. But I get a few. I get such a broad feedback on some of the memes. Some people don't like them. Some people get a little nitpicky. Oh, your meme implies that set is, or the set is, oh, yes, the set is dead. Your meme implies that it's dead, that using is wrong. Using set is wrong. Yeah, I like said. They'll tell you how much they like said, how much they disagree. And then, but let's face it, there are many ways to write. And if the audience doesn't like that, well, I'm sorry, you write your stories then. I'm tired of the fact that there are too many more of the same. You pick up a military, whether it's a military or I'm trying to think. Well, you got superhero, military, fantasy. Yeah, sword and sorcery. That's what I'm thinking. Whether it's sword and sorcery or the sword and sandal or the gunslinger genre or the superhero genre, they're all origin stories. That's why I wrote my origin story first. Get it out of the way. I'm trying. Unfortunately, I'm progressing towards the action. Hopefully, book 4 gets it right up to the edge when it starts. Get Cade into training. Because I want the origin stories out of the way. So I don't want to be stuck in that origin story. I spent longer than I thought, but I'm trying to spend as little as possible on the origin story. Of course, I spent a long time on it. I didn't really intend to, but it's actually been fun developing the character. I really think that I can understand why some people like the origin story, because it's the progression of the character. But I'm progressing him not to, from zero to hero in one story or a trilogy. And it's funny because my memories of, say, Spider-Man or Batman, for instance, aren't Batman. My introduction to Batman there was no origin story when I saw the Batman. When I first saw Batman, it was halfway through the original series. Now I can only think of Robin's Burt Ward, but Adam West Batman. That's it. Adam West and Burt Ward. It was halfway through. I watched it like it looped forever when I was a kid. It was like every afternoon. It was Batman, Adam's West Batman. There was Adam's Family. There was the Saturday cartoons like Johnny Quest and Robotech. There weren't many Japanese animes, but there was Astro Boy. That was repeated so many times. But all those things come together. But I read, and I read a lot. My mother gave me The Hobbit to read. Later, I read the Lord of the Rings. That was a slog. Reading a few pages every afternoon after school for years. But I read it, and I read it, and I read it. I've read the Harry Potter series. It didn't leap out at me and make me go see the movies. It didn't turn me into some Potterhead, and it's like Star Wars. It didn't make me run out and want to be a Jedi. I never got that grip. But there's some things that stuck with me. I always look forward to a Batman movie. I always looked forward to a Spider-Man movie. I know there are anime fans out there who waggle their finger at me and say, yes, there are some anime that I like, but sometimes I don't latch on to something and remember the characters, all their motivations, all their little personal details. I know some of you, my friends, do. You probably see a character and recognize which anime they're from. Some people are really good at that, and that's fine. Sometimes I wish people loved my book that much. I don't think there's one or two of you who actually do, and I guess somebody, at least one of you've told me how much you love my book, and that's fantastic. Had somebody recently, oh yeah, I've got a review coming out. Some review hopefully being posted soon. But I haven't seen that yet. I'll just check my email. They said they were sending me a review and going to post it and see where that is. Might be on their blog. All the best on your fourth. Yeah. Oh yeah, subtitles. Actually, yeah, subtitles. Somebody asked about subtitles. Yes. Yeah, I don't have subtitles. Subheadings for my chapters because data readers. No subheadings for my chapters because beta readers thought it was too cliche. I actually did have chapter headings, but then again, as I reviewed and rewrote some things, yeah, some chapters actually changed too. So that made it difficult. Yes, I have a blogger they're posting it next week. So hopefully next week I'll have another. Well, actually, I think I do have a blogger somewhere who did review my book. I'll have to find it again. But yeah, most of them I say to people, please at least post it on Goodreads if you can't post it on Amazon. I think I don't have that many on Goodreads either. So, but I've had a few people add me on Goodreads recently, so hopefully that'll that'll up the reviews soon. Usually, when somebody, although a lot of people, a lot of reviewers have added me, but so far nothing. But then again, they probably very busy. I mean, reviewers, particularly bloggers, they're going to put out a lot of content. So, and I can sympathize with that. I could sympathize with needing to put out content and having lots of books to read and choosing which ones to read. And right now, well, yeah, somebody asked me today what I was reading. Actually, I recently got a older, let's see, first one, I got Futabakun Change. It's by Hiroshi Ero, and it's a comedy about a young man who inherits an unknown gene which enables him to turn into a cute young lady during times of stress. However, this troubles him when he finds out his older sister is an erotic character. And of course, his father turns out to be his mother. It's 8 volumes, first published in 2015. And it's a bit funny, although these days some people are a little bit insensitive or oversensitive, depending on your politics, about such about transgenderism and that. But I'm also halfway through Recruit, though I've also got recently got asked to review the Magic Factory, Morgan Rice, I don't know, and Rise of the Valiant Kings. Forget who asked me, publicist, I think. See, the more you review, the more chances you can. This is the thing I've found out. Some of these publicists, you do reviews, and eventually they'll get around to asking their friends, and that's how I got some of my reviews done in the first place. I did reviews for other people, and eventually they did reviews of my book. But yeah, Recruit, it's actually one I just picked up. Isn't one I was asked to review, and I was picked up to picked that one up to read. That was on my own, but yes, I think well, again, because I think I've got a few other requests to review books, so I'll have to go back and see that. Because at some point I may read and review Rapier. We did the interview for that too today, earlier. My time today, might be tomorrow for you. Funny how time zones. But yes, I was thinking today, what the topic today was wanted to talk about supervillains and actually how to use Jeff Bezos and all the rumors surrounding him of the supervillain, all the supervillain things he did, like having a bridge destroyed to get his super yacht out to sea, and embezzling money, the alleged allegations of embezzling money from the company, sending it broke so he could build up his space company, and then use the threat of massive job losses to get the government to bail out both. That's a very supervillain thing to do, while pocketing billions of dollars, and well, the allegations of not paying taxes, I don't know how that would work, but yeah, would have to create some sort of although you can avoid company tax by running a company at a loss, but you have to have a source of income or a lot of money to prop it up. So there is that. But it makes for a good supervillain. I just don't say this is based on Jeff Bezos, or I'm just saying rumors about Jeff Bezos, throw in a bit of George Soros, throw in a bit of Bill Gates, throw in a bit of Oprah. Just take these nasty rumors that are out there about different people, and you can build supervillains. It's really easy. Yet, for some reason, Marvel can't seem to produce a villain worth actually laughing at. Like, I can't help it. Kang, let's just laugh. Jonathan Majors, I don't care who's playing Kang at this point. F Marvel was, it's terrible. You have the material. It's bad when the old source material is better than the reboot. That's not the point of a reboot. And I don't like taking something and turning it into a modernizing. I don't like this concept of modernizing. What's wrong with new characters? What's wrong with... I like the fact Watchmen had a good one with the Night Owl, having it as a franchise. Batman retiring and saying, hey, Mr. Here we go. He trains up somebody and says, you're Batman now. Adios, amigos. And goes to the Bermuda or Bahamas or wherever to retire and be Bruce Wayne, and the resources of the company still supports the Batman. Of course, there's things like modernization to consider, like how you're going to avoid satellite tracking and villains from finding out where you are. But I mean, there's simple techniques that could easily find the Batman. There's a lot of, let's say, creative licensing that you need, suspension of belief, suspend what you know and accept what you see. There are times when you can do that with a story, and it works in the context of that universe where nobody wants to know who the Batman is other than a few villains. And when they do, there's a curse that just falls upon them. Or the cover-up curse. And then it all reaches equilibrium, doesn't it? Where knowing who the Batman is worthless. Doesn't change who or what he is or what he does. And even if somebody figured out who the Batman was, he could just disappear, run his companies by remote, disappear into the reboot, redistribute, be a BlackRock, have black tentacles everywhere without people, through layers of lawyers. That's another good point. Quantum Group in Quantum of Solace was actually based on George Soros and his Quantum Group in the UK. Not the real life Quantum Group, of course, but just the name Quantum and the imagination of somebody with a supervillain tentacles, that a company with so many tentacles would be a supervillain. That's, I said, you could use real life rumors and innuendo. And another one, all the allegations against how powerful and manipulative Putin is. That's one I'm considering, how to make a Putin, not the real life Putin, but the alleged Putin, this supervillain who has his tentacles throughout the United States and manipulates them from afar, just lifts his finger and puppet strings hundreds of thousands of people at a time. You do realize all these rumors are Putin just makes him look like a 50-foot tall statue and a character with more muscles and more power and more eminence than any modern world leader, any other. Makes your own world, and makes your own world leader, makes your own leaders look like impotent fools. bumbling around in the dark. We can't stop Putin. And it makes for a wonderful supervillain. All the rumors and innuendo flying around the media. Just pick up a random hit piece. Actually, that's a good one. Google hit pieces. Whether it's Donald Trump, Ben Shapiro, Oprah Winfrey, Bill Gates, George Soros. You can find easy, better supervillains that the media have made up than Marvel. There are superhero games. There are superheroes in obscure games, obscure comics who are better villains. Though, one thing I do have to agree, Loki isn't good or evil. He's not meant to be good or evil. He's meant to be mischief, chaos itself. Which, in a way, lends itself more to the Joker, and that's the problem, isn't it? Once you get too many characters the same, whether it be the Joker, Loki, they try to distinguish themselves, and of course that grounded Loki isn't as fun as the comic, early Marvel comic of Loki. Then again, evil gods, good supervillain material. Evil gods. Trying to think of one other than Set. Set with his priests, with their snake staff, believed to be notorious killers, and they had. But then again, you'd have to build a society that would see the priests as untouchable, and people would, you build that fear, tension. You have to build a society that creates that, but there's a lot there. The priests have Set, a cult that can operate with impunity at every level of society because they're priests. And a population who would revolt if any harm came to the priest, even if he had done horrible things. Of course, the trouble is these days, to make a villain horrible, to really cut deep, it's too far. I think the implications, rather than the best one, I think, is the Dark Knight, where you imply rather than show. You have you'll have the personal deaths with Heath Ledger's Joker, where he kills a crime boss, a couple of his own lackeys. Well, actually, a few crime bosses. He burns a triad boss on top of a pile of money. But yes, blows up a hospital. That there are sometimes you don't show the deaths, you show the chaos. The bank robbery, killing his own men, which was more of a factor. I don't think he was killing his own men. I think he got key men from criminal groups together. But there's sometimes show don't tell doesn't always work. I think there should have been more of a heist movie was there, in a better heist movie was there than in the Heath Ledger Joker. Again, tragic mistake. I don't know. Traveling giant from New York to London, and because your timer is set to take particular medicine at a particular time, but the actual intervals of the medication is supposed to be once every 24 hours. So instead of having a countdown timer that you reset every time it goes off, he had it set to a particular time, and he overdosed on his medication, which normally should not happen. Most medications are not enough so that the second dose doesn't overdose you if it's too close to the first. It's usually have to take it. It's usually, but I don't know. I forget the particular medication at the time, and yes, it was. I think it was more negligence on of the to prescribe such powerful painkillers. But, we'll never know the truth. That's the problem. And then sometimes the lies told in this world can make for great stories, I think. And that's how I aim to improve my villains, to not to expose them more often or have a villain of the day in every book. Maybe I'll kill off the main villain. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll make but I won't have a villain that appears the same every time. I think I'll have a cast of villains. That's how I originally intended, to have a cast of villains and put together a few different ones and base them on real life rumors, not real life people. Have them appear grandiose, larger than life. Oh, we have a bot. Sorry, Beat Bob Boo. Not into bots. This is bots. It scares me how Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, not so much YouTube, but there's still bots on YouTube, and they get away. They get away with existing. They get away with trying to get you to go to their Telegram program. I don't know why anybody falls for them. Somebody calls you, you don't know. Why people fall for telemarketers? They load scammers. I think telemarketing. No, I think it's harassment. It's like junk mail, which is thankfully disappearing. A lot of companies are giving up on junk mail, thank God. Can't wait for political parties to stop their junk mail campaigns. But yeah, you could use your junk mail to show how wasteful your villain is. It's a good one. Try to remember that. So villains need to be a little petty, a little incompetent, not big, grandiose incompetence. Not like Loki, who completely overlooks the fact that the moment, what he, like, something as petty as cutting Sif's hair. But that was, I guess, that actually might fall into the mischief maker, where he knows he's going to get caught, but he'll do it anyway. And again, that's like I said, the Joker was based on that philosophy that I'm going to get caught. I'm just going to make as much mischief as I can. Well, actually, not mischief, mayhem. There's a difference. But Loki was more mischief, though there were mischief. He did make mischief and mayhem, like he did lead to Boulder's death, finding out his secret. And I guess that's where Boulder's death is where you get Kryptonite and Superman from. And the discovery of Superman should have been killed with the discovery of kryptonite. And that would be the end of it, and you move on. I mean, but there are so many. I guess one of the reasons why they never killed Superman originally was because they had so many stories. But I remember when the death of Superman and basically the acknowledgement that they had no more stories to tell other than post Superman, and that's actually a good thing. Kill your character and have a post story. Have new Supermen who rise to the occasion because they're no longer fearful or intimidated or even oppressed or suppressed by the existence of Superman. You know, have Superman confront pretenders or legal action taken against pretenders. And then with the death of Superman, pretenders take up the mantle to solve his death. That would have been fantastic. Isn't it amazing that sometimes the best material doesn't come from the originators, but the imaginations of the readers? It's sad sometimes, though, that the fan fiction is better than the corporate media. And get the fan. There's only a few times I think fan fiction has ever taken off, like 50 Shades of Grey is fan fiction of that stupid sparkly vampire thingy. So people like that stupid sparkly vampire thingy. Well, for about 5 minutes. It's like, this is like the YA vampires and the YA vampires. Yeah, there's always going to be vampires. There's always going to be YA movies and YA shows, but I think one of the things that killed the YA craze, and probably this is why we had the superhero craze, is a lot of the YA heroes were practically superheroes, and they were pretty much invincible and insufferable at the same time. But the premises of some of them, I mean, the Hunger Games, I think, was the peak of YA, and after that, it was, well, more and more insufferable. And I think Jennifer Lawrence just did not resonate well in X-Men. And I think X-Men, people wanted Wolverine. People liked Wolverine. People didn't want Jennifer Lawrence. That's a case where you do know what the audience wants. After the first movie, it was quite clear what the feedback was. Whereas sometimes with a book, you may not get enough feedback to warrant which characters are working and which characters aren't, whether you have too many characters or too few. So a lot of people don't like too many characters, and other people, don't mind, because real life, you have lots of characters, lots of things going on. I mean, depends on the interaction, depends on the story. But yeah, I'm trying to stick to supervillains, and with villains, they actually do tend to surround themselves with incompetence. They don't want anybody to rise up and be able to challenge them. They want people to bully around. They actually like to surround themselves with weak people, because weak people will do anything, they are told, for the approval of the strong or the protection of the strong. So there's that in mind, that perhaps instead of weak villains who are easily defeated, that we have smart villains whose downfall is the weakness of all villains, and that is to have weak underlings and underestimate the intelligence, or actually not the intelligence of the individual, but rather the tenacity of a group dedicated. And sometimes you do have the case where somebody who succeeds today, let's say, look at how few big jewelry heists there are. Once upon a time, jewelry stores were knocked off all the time, but police got better and better at catching people and dismantling the networks for stolen jewelry. tenacity, I think, and of course, that's where I think if you want to build a villain, try some of the old true crime detective novels too. I'm trying to read some of those, but like I said, I'm at the moment reading a military campaign. Help prepare for book 4, and while I'm writing book 4, and help prepare for book 5. So I've got a lot going on, but at the same time, I'm trying to improve the villains and improve characters to keep them relevant, to actually justify. But I can't put every character into every chapter or every character in every book. So I'm going to try to maximize the few top characters and minimize the side characters who only exist really to be triggers and be triggers to events, rather than, yes, that's how I see it. I mean, you can either have lots of things happen to one character, or you can have a character responding to lots of things happening around them, or you can try to do both. But no story exists without stories don't exist without conflict. It's just the level, the type is always different. But don't expect me to write a romance or a mystery. Don't expect my villains to be, I suppose, it's hard to say. World-conquering Marvel villains, I suppose. Although I am toying with a superhero-esque, or at least a heroine with a hero complex, who actually is magical. So but also has developed powers through her demonic possession, and to carry out her. She wants to be a hero. She wants to be an undercover reporter and expose crime and corruption. And I'm thinking at first there should be some tension with my hero, Cade, and perhaps in book 4, I've introduced her in book 4, and perhaps in book 4 she's shy, secretive, sneaky, and basically in book 5 it changes. They get to know each other. Of course, he's got the Hades to deal with, and of course the Chosen, who are an enigmatic group of selfish meddlers who want to undermine and destroy society. Because some people just want to see the world burn. I think they can create by destroying old societies, they can create new ones. And then, of course, hopefully, there's the Alliance, a group of who feel intimidated by the elves and their empire and panic as it grows, fearing that a large empire would be a apex predator, nip it at the bud before they become a threat. So there is that. So, spoiler, I suppose I should put spoiler alert at the beginning of these things. But you never know. Just free-flowing, thinking out loud. Of course, this is all for you, the reader, to feed back to me, because I want to entertain you. I want to improve. One of the things I'm looking at improving, replacing said with more and adding detail, more emotion, more inner dialogue. At the same time, I want to also up the world building and try to maximize the use of the top characters, being Cade, Sora, Toshiko, and minimize the side characters who are real. Well, isn't Abby's the main character, but try to below the 7, the top 7 or 8. Setsuko, even some of the knights, they exist just character interactions. They don't need to be there all the time. They don't need to be named all the time. They don't need to do anything all the time. But of course, I'm writing at an adult level for adults. So there's going to be sex, there's going to be murder, there's going to be drama, but not so much on the interpersonal drama. Trying to not overcomplicate the story by having pointless arguments between couples. And although some may think that's unrealistic, I'll go into detail. I think I've actually covered that in book 3 about emotional control, but I'll bring that up a few more times, I think, to actually explain the elven viewpoint, to basically hammer home the elven viewpoint. But I'll have some drama and some, pettiness still crop up, mostly with the non-humans. Sort of, there's Freya, of course. She's sort of main character, one of the top 13. Claymorda, the dragon, might have her do some stuff. But then, of course, there's the side character, this new character. Nozamai, but she's not really a main character, but I thought still. So I'll have to think of some stuff for the main characters to do for side quests, side stories, sorry. Anyway, thank you all for listening. Links are in the description below. Please buy my books. As I said, I have, starting tomorrow, I'll be posting the links on social media. My book will be on sale, 50% on Smashwords. Thank you all for listening. Please like, share, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. Don't forget, on YouTube, you need to hit the notification bell if you want to be notified of the live streams. Hope, please, feedback in the comments below. I'll try to reach each and every one of you. And like I said, there's a book review coming out soon, so I'll have that probably next time. And I hope to have book review and sales links on social media. What else was there? I think that was it. Don't think there's anything else coming up. I had the interview today. That's with Doc Carrera. See that in the on my YouTube, Facebook. I think that's it. I think. Oh yes, that's right. So March 6th, yeah. But every second, the second of the month is new content day. This new content came out this week. New chapter for my writing Patreon. That's let's see. Erotic Tales from the Empire, Chapter 11, The Sexy Secretary. That's out on my David T. Applegate Patreon. Adult Science Fantasy Tales and Erotic Art. Have a new Izanami picture out. And on my Tabletop Gaming, there's the 86th article, Future Fantasy 86 Contacts. And of course, there's a picture of a Naga as there will be more. There's some dwarves, some elves, some dragons. I'll be doing some male characters soon, some female characters. I've got some male dwarves up, but some male elves. I'll be looking at well, some of the dragons are male, but some are female. But dragons be dragons. The gender is more is nuanced because they're. But I'll be doing some more creatures, more in the artwork. Be have with the stories. I'll continue on about to chapter 15. Started before I start a new book, and be reviewing. Sorry, it'll be also reviewing and editing the erotic tales for a couple of months, and having beta readers go over that, doing some updates on that in a couple of months. Hopefully, I think that's all that I've got, and hopefully feedback. See what you think about villains. There's a particular villain like a good horror, and I'm not going to have a child murderer. But I might have a serial killer, but not a child murderer. Nip that in the bud. I'm not going to explore that anything too dark. Perhaps even maybe imply a rapist, but they'll meet grisly ends very quickly. Anything too dark will meet a grisly end so quickly, because we're dealing with might and magic here, not heroes of might and magic. So the villains are more into as a matter of survival, keeping their heads down and trying to find ways to be mischievous and villainous, but not idiotic. Because anything too crazy won't last in the empire. But outside the empire, again, I don't want to do something that's too dark. Unless there's a compelling story there that needs to be told, and it's like the Punisher, it's gonna, Cade will just have them blown away. A massive army at his disposal of witches. So if there's some suggestions or feedback, don't forget, try to keep in mind that they have the ability to somewhat foretell the future, somewhat ability to jam teleportation, so you can't have these. And of course, they can detect invisibility, and of course, he has dragons who can see right through any illusions. So there's going to be no elaborate scheme to assassinate the emperor that's going to succeed. And they have all sorts of scanners and detectors, so there's going to be no smuggling of nuclear bombs, and of course they have a technology to suppress that as well, shields. So I'm trying to, I think Grimdark, See, if I suppose, I'm more, I don't want to go to Grimdark, and I don't want to be Star Trek. I want to be in the middle somewhere. I want science to be full of hope, wonder, etc. But there has to be some sort of conflict. But don't want it to be absolute grimdark, where super soldiers will murder entire cities just because somebody saw a sorcerer, or hunting heretics and stuff like that. Although there might be some of that. There might be some religious in the future. So, but nothing real world, I don't think. And of course, at some point they will go to Earth. So, to those who have asked, yes, where is Terra? I'll get to that soon enough and establish an actual timeline. So, thank you all for listening, and I guess, and I'll see you all on the other side.